in Taiwan have taken place, and Taiwan has spoken out. The results are out. The verdict, of course, is not going to please the rulers in China. The Taiwanese voters have swept the ruling Democratic Progressive Party's presidential candidate Lai Ching-te to power. These are the images of celebrations outside of the DPP's party office. Taiwan's victorious presidential candidate Lai Ching-te has vowed to defend the self-ruled island from the Chinese intimidation. Addressing supporters after his two opponents conceded defeat, Lai thanked the Taiwanese people for writing a new chapter in Taiwan's autonomy and democracy.
We are telling the international community that between democracy and authoritarianism, we will stand on the side of democracy. Taiwan will continue to walk side by side with democracies from around the world.
Lai, who's the current vice president, delivered an unprecedented third consecutive term for the DPP after a raucous campaign in which he had pitched himself as the defender of Taiwan's democratic way of life.
Through our actions, the Taiwanese people have successfully resisted efforts from external forces to influence this election. We trust that only the people of Taiwan have the right to choose their president.
The European Union has welcomed Taiwan's presidential elections and has congratulated all the voters. A reaction from China at this moment is still awaited. Beijing, remember, has in the past slammed Lai, the current vice president, as a dangerous separatist. And on the eve of the vote, its defense ministry had vowed to crush any move towards Taiwanese independence. In an explicit rejection of China's warnings not to vote for him in an election that Beijing had framed as a choice between war and peace, the Taiwanese people has quite clearly chosen a candidate who said that he will continue to uphold Taiwanese sovereignty. And also to give us more updates in terms of what, of course, is happening on the ground, TVBS's correspondent Vivian Shao has sent us this report from Taipei. Listen in.
In the wake of a historic victory in Taiwan's presidential election, President-elect Lai Ching-te and Vice President-elect Hou Yu-ih vowed on Saturday to follow in the footsteps of President Tsai Ing-wen. Addressing international media, Lai emphasized his steadfast commitment to democracy. He thanked his opponents for upholding democratic values and congratulated their parties, expressing eagerness to collaborate for Taiwan's future. This election, a focal point of the 2024 global democratic process, has been a testament to Taiwan's resilience against efforts to influence its democratic proceedings, he said. According to Lai, the results also demonstrate a clear preference for democracy over authoritarianism. More importantly, he stressed that as the president-elect, he has an important responsibility to maintain peace and stability in the Taiwan Strait. To this end, he promised to act in accordance with our democratic and free constitutional order in a manner that is balanced and maintains the cross-strait status quo under the principles of dignity. Lai vowed to use exchanges to replace obstructionism, dialogue to replace confrontation, and confidently pursue exchanges and cooperation with China. This will further the well-being of people on both sides of the Taiwan Strait and achieve our objective of peace and common prosperity, he continued. However, the legislative elections brought mixed results for the Democratic Progressive Party. The DPP acknowledged that they have failed to maintain a majority. Lai admitted the need for introspection and improvement, emphasizing the importance of an effective government that aligns with public expectations. In response to the new legislative structure, Lai stressed the importance of open communication, consultation, and cooperation. He plans to integrate the policies of his opponents into his policy framework, aiming to further Taiwan's national development and foster a more inclusive political environment. This is Vivian Xiao for TVBS World Taiwan.
Remember, just before the election, we'd been hearing a lot of rhetoric from China. And since the election results have come out, a lot of people were looking for China's reaction about these results in Taiwan. And China has now lashed out against Taiwan's president-elect Lai Ching-te after he won the crucial vote. It has vowed that it would not tolerate any kind of separatist activities in the self-ruled island that it claims is a part of its own territory. The Chinese statement says, and I quote here, "We will adhere to the 1992 consensus that embodies the One China principle and firmly opposes the separatist activities aimed at Taiwan's independence as well as any kind of foreign interference in the Taiwanese territory." Now, to give us more perspective in terms of what this result, of course, means for the people of Taiwan, we're being joined by Ms. Lai Ching-te, who's actually a member of the legislative Yuan in Taiwan, and she's joining us live from Taichung City. Now, Ms. Yi, thank you very much indeed for taking time out and speaking to us here on WION at this moment. You are from the DPP, the Democratic People's Party. Now, give us a sense of how important this victory is for the DPP.
I think that is a very difficult election for DPP because most of the people are wondering if they are facing another different party to leading a government, to leading the country. So our this time the Lai Ching-te win the election means more, at least we could to keep our national identity and our cooperation with international global society for next 4 years. I think that is really very important. But we are still facing some very difficult situation. One part is China are still trying to influence Taiwan's democracy. At the same time, because this time, next parliament, the DPP not the major not major in parliament.
Right.
Actually, now we need to negotiate with our another two parties. So that will make us a little bit difficult, especially when we want to build some very important policies, especially cooperate with the US or global society. So for DPP, I think the good news is that we still got in power in government, but the bad news is we are. I think we were much more challenged in next 4 years, especially in parliament. This situation.
Now, Ms. Yi, the reason as to why this election is being watched widely around the world is, although it is an election in Taiwan, the rhetoric that was coming in from China was very strident. China had dubbed this election as a choice between peace and war, as a choice between prosperity and decline for the people of Taiwan. So the question that I want to ask you is, for an average voter within Taiwan, what did this kind of rhetoric by China, how did it play on the minds of the voters in Taiwan?
Actually, the influence from China not only in the war or peace issues, because actually China through Taiwan is past decades. So most of Taiwanese, all we know, China is our most threat, dangerous challenge to us. But at the same time, most of the Taiwanese think they do not believe war will happen because we actually keep our daily life in past decades. So the influence from China, I think the most dangerous is from social media. Right. The TikTok and some channel from YouTube, especially China support some YouTuber in Taiwan to affect our the policy or to give some disinformation to people. That is very difficult for DPP to make people understand what is real situation. And this time, why we couldn't to get the measure in parliament, the main problem is the young generations, actually they choose another smaller parties. So
it's
the young
interesting, Ms. Yi,
generation.
if I can just probe you a bit there. A lot of people are in fact saying that China, for reunification with Taiwan, may not resort to a military option. Instead, what it would want to do by using social media, it may want to influence the young people in Taiwan to make them more favorable towards China. Is this a real fear within the Taiwanese society?
Yes, this is really dangerous for Taiwan society. I could give you some example. A couple of days ago, China actually they have a satellite, and the information actually makes some Taiwanese people a little aware about the dangers from China. But most of the young generations, they treat that just like a joke. They say, hey, we shouldn't be afraid about that because that's just a normal actions from China, and that is not really dangerous to Taiwan.
Right.
So I think this kind of attitude comes from the very long times, the influence from social media by China. So I think that is our party need to treat that very seriously, because the more young generations actually they was our supporter before, but this election I think we lost at least 2 million young populations supporters. That is the most dangerous for our party, but also is for Taiwan identity.
Now, Ms. Yi, you are a legislator with the Democratic Progressive Party. Now, Tsai Ing-wen, the outgoing president, she in fact made a reputation for herself as someone who stood out very resolutely against any kind of attempts by China to impinge on Taiwan's sovereignty. Can we expect a different kind of a policy or a different kind of an approach by the new president-elect, Mr. Lai? Or do you think that he too will continue with the similar kind of a policy that we saw under Tsai Ing-wen?
The elected president, Lai Ching-te, he announced many times he will follow the Tsai Ing-wen's policy, especially in the bilateral relationships between Taiwan and China, but also he will keep the very stable policy similar with Taiwan. So I think in next 4 years, the president Lai Ching-te, he will follow the policy of President Tsai Ing-wen, but I think he will more have a little different style to communicate with global society. I think that is a little different between his style and the President Tsai Ing-wen's style.
I think you've given us an interesting insight there. Thank you very much indeed, Ms. Lin Ching-yi, for joining us and getting us all those insights there.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.